Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And yeah, people have floated the idea of late, for the last 20 years, that reality is glitching, right? That the reality isn't quite as real as we think it is. Now, actually, that's something that really works for me because that's what I believe. You know, I believe in this Kabbalistic theory that this reality as we know it is somewhat of a simulation, somewhat of it's some way not real, and the real reality is beyond that, right? But yeah, this simulation is glitching somewhat. I think we've seen it glitching quite a lot of late. Things get stranger and stranger and stranger. Look, a way I noticed it first glitching was, good 20 years ago now, right? When you would walk out of a Starbucks, so big in the early 2000s. We everybody loved the Starbucks. We would walk out of the Starbucks, and then you look across the street, and you'll see another Starbucks, right? Another Starbucks. It was clearly reality glitching. There's no need for there to be two coffee shops within a minute walk of each other, but of the same coffee shop. I can understand rivals. No, the exact same. That was reality glitching. And so that changed today into a totally different way reality is glitching. Reality is glitching. Oh, not totally, very similar way. Reality is glitching. Friends of mine were just in Canada. Canada, right at the moment where they completely abandoned any form of liberty and freedom and democracy, freedom of speech, and they locked everybody down. And once again, that's bizarre. It was, but they were there at that time, but their biggest memory of it wasn't that. The biggest memory of it was there's weed shops everywhere. So again, my neighbor and his wife, they were going to stop off and go to a weed shop. They went up to them. Said, "Go to the weed shop." They said, "Sure, we'll go to the weed shop." Right? That's what I would do. I'm fascinated. Like I'm totally I like paraphernalia of weird things. And when I was in Amsterdam, like my wife just refused to go into any of the sex shops. I just wanted to go and. I really wanted to get a picture of her, holding a selection of dildos. She wouldn't do it. Okay, that was a hard no. Okay, that was a hard no. I tried hard for you guys. Okay, I did try hard. That was many years ago, before I had my channel. Anyway, they went to the weed shop. They got out. Well, something that does upset me though. If they have like edible stuff, I can't do it because it's not kosher. Yeah, this is a minefield you live in, being crazily religious and a bit scuzzy at the same time. So they got out the car, and then one started going one way, so one started going the other way, and they said, "Well, where are you going?" He said, "I thought we were going to the weed shop." And the wife said, "Yeah, we're going to the one over here." And the husband said, "No, I thought we were going to the one over there." They're everywhere. Reality's glitching. So I got another way that reality is glitching, right? And we saw 2 days ago where we had two very shilly media outlets that have been very, very much on board for Jodie Whittaker. Jodie! Hey, hashtag Jodie, our doctor. Not for much longer, darling. Not for much longer. Addressing exactly the same thing, these two areas, the Radio Times and Screen Rant, very, very shilly places. Addressing exactly the same thing, which was the rumor that David Tennant and Matt Smith was coming back. Add into that, they also threw in Christopher Eccleston and Capaldi. No way! Okay? I don't believe that for a second. The far more credible rumor, I thought, was Bad Wolf is going to be doing like animated stuff as well, which would be great, like a Paul McGann animated series. Love it. I love that idea. Okay, I really, really hope that goes down. But the rumor is essentially that David Tennant and Matt Smith are coming back because Doctor Who has been so incredibly destroyed. They got to rebuild it in the national consciousness to repair the damage done by Jodie Whittaker. So that didn't sit well with Screen Rant at all, and it was kind of embraced wholeheartely by Radio Times. So there you go. So we have a tale of two fandoms. That's what we're going to be looking at too. I haven't read these articles yet, but they actually look. Basically, the Radio Times one looks like it's got some thought put into it. Written by Paul Kirkley, who's a reasonably good writer. I see he writes for Doctor Who every now and again, Doctor Who magazine every now and again, and his articles aren't excruciatingly bad. So good for him. Good for him. Fine. Before we get into it, can you hit the like? 5 minutes in, I haven't asked you to like the video yet. Like, share, subscribe. Is anybody left? Is anybody still here? I don't know. Like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. My subs. What is a Substack? Substack. Substack is my email newsletter. I send out comic books on there and stuff about my videos. And sign up for it. Do me a favor. Throw me a bone and sign up. It's free. Unless you want to sign up for the paid one. They ask when you sign up, they say, hey, would you like to sign up for the paid one? And that's when my Jewiness really kicks in. I'm like, no, but don't you do that. If they ask you, you sign up for the paid one. I don't know what to tell you. Might be an idea. But thank you anyway. To anybody who do signs up for either or likes it or shares, subscribe. Comment is great. Comments are fantastic. They help me out a lot. Fine. So let's look at the first of these articles in RadioTimes.com. Why Doctor Who should embrace nostalgia for its 60th anniversary. I have to hear his argument, but I think embracing nostalgia is going to make garbage, right? You've got to push forward and embrace nostalgia at the same time. I would say Star Trek Enterprise Season 4 was a little bit too embracing nostalgia and not enough moving forward, right? Honestly, I think the perfect balance would be the later Rusty Davies years when he had like 30 to 40% classic stuff, nostalgia, and 60 to 70% new stuff. So I thought that was all pretty good. That's the right balance. But let's see what he's got to say. As rumor of former Time Lords returning continues to mount, why are some Doctor Who fans still wary of the show's past? Well, that's a good question. Because they don't want it to make the present look worse. That's basically was what I think is the answer. They don't want to make the present look worse. And that is some of his memories. The Doctor said, a Time Lord even more so. I've just started listening yesterday to the John Coltrane narrated book on tape of the Five Doctors. It's really nice. I love John Coltrane. Like, his Brigadier is fantastic. But also, honestly, Sarah J. Smith isn't bad either. This is typically wise and astute observation from the great Terence Dicks, was a perfect sentiment of inclusion in Doctor Who's warmly nostalgic 20th anniversary, The Five Doctors. Wouldn't it be great if we had some Altons in as well as the Cybermen? We hadn't seen Altons for years at that point. Because what are we as sentient beings if not a balance of our experiences? That's fair. I think we'll go a bit deeper than that, but okay. And the things we've seen, the lessons we've learned, and the people we've met along the way. When Donna Noble had her memories of traveling the Doctor wipe, it felt like the cruelest possible fate. Yeah, that was so true. I agree with you. It was sad. It was the biggest downer, I think, in the Rusty Davies era. And like that little coda with David Tennant right at the end before he regenerated, lovely, absolutely lovely. Because without her memory, Donna was literally a different, smaller person. Well, she ended up okay. And the same goes for the Doctor himself. A property of 58 years of standing. It has something that most other TV shows can only dream of. It has a mythology, yes, and people try to create a mythology, and it never really, really works. You can't create... I mean, even when things have a mythology, they then try and create a whole new one. Again, look at Star Trek under Kurtzman. It's crazy. More important than that, it has a history we all share, one that reaches back to our childhoods, however recent or distant they may be. Okay, and though many of us can mark births, marriages, and death, and all other important milestones in life, and through which we ask birthdays. Honestly, the only way I ever managed to remember my youngest daughter's birthday was that it was 2 days before Doctor Who's anniversary. I'm like, okay, November 23rd. Okay, I can remember that. You've got to find something to lock onto. Okay, and thank God that was in November. I remember my son's birthday. That was easy, because his birthday is exactly 9 months after my birthday. Which always makes me giggle. So it's hardly surprising that, as shows prepare to celebrate its 60th birthday next year, the rumor mill is alive with speculation that former Doctors such as David Tennant and Matt Smith could return for a series of specials. But because why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you do it? Or why wouldn't you make those specials? Or why wouldn't David Tennant and Matt Smith? Well, Matt Smith, they got other things they want to do. They moved on, but I think they would both do it. And yeah, you'll find plenty of hardcore Doctor Who fans throwing up their arms in horror, mock or otherwise, at the idea. Because again, it's another realization that Jodie Whittaker has failed. I mean, that's what it is. It's a admission of failure once again, right? Once again. But why? Why has it become fashionable for the program's most devoted fans to insist that it should only ever march relentlessly forward, eyes forward, and never look back? It's not. It's the loudest fans, but like they're not the majority, and they're not the most passionate. They're the most passionate about the agenda that Doctor Who is the platform for in the current era. But they're not really. They're not. I don't know. I mean, people like that don't strike me as being real fans, because I think that as soon as Jodie goes, if there's a white male Doctor, they'll go. They'll stay around to have a little bit of a tantrum, and then they'll go. Right? That's basically it. They'll just get bored and go. Why the assenting insistence that the Doctor should be made for everyone, grannies, children's, Saturday night TV audiences, but them. Right? Yeah, like everybody should be able to see themselves in the Doctor. What about white men? No. What the majority of it? No, not them. Okay. A couple of reasons, I think. One is they're showing off. They're trying to sound grown up by talking more like a potential Doctor Who showrunner than a fan. Yeah, okay, that's fair. They're embarrassed to lean into nostalgia because it feels so fanish. Well, honestly, Rusty Davies should have cured you of that, right? I mean, read the writer's tale. This pitch for the seasons where he's like, especially the Donna season? Would it be season 4? Season 4, was it? Yeah. We had Rose with David Tennant, then Martha, Donna, season 4, right? So yeah, so he does his pitch about getting bigger and bigger, and at the end, and then there's Davros. It's so fanish. It was so fanish, right? Because his love of Doctor Who is very, very clear, right? And so to quote Terence Dicks, another line of Terence Dicks on the Fine Doctors, they find menace in their own shadow. Oh, that is true as well. All right, that's very true. This is not entirely without logic, of course. In 2005, Rusty Davies, the once and future king of Doctor Who, made a huge success of the show's relaunch by stripping away the fussy baggage of the Time Lords and Gallifrey, and as all men in silly hats. Yeah, okay, that's right. Because again, he knows what he's doing. Honestly, everybody thinks they can write stories. Everybody thinks they're inventive. No, you're not. You're not. Most people aren't. Like a plumber, generally speaking, knows how to plumb. Right, a writer hopefully knows how to write, unless they're Chris Chibnall or Alex Kurtzman, in which case they know how to manipulate, corporate politics. Instead, he drilled down to the core principles of an alien and a London shop girl embarking on thrilling adventures across time and space. But what was the right choice for 2005, when Doctor Who had been off the air for 16 years, and British TV commissioners were still largely viewed the science fiction. Flying fiction as audience kryptonite. Yeah, if you weren't around for 2005, nobody thought it would succeed. They thought it was going to be an embarrassing failure, and they're like, "Why would Rusty Davies do this to his career?" That was what was going on before season 1, right? Isn't necessarily right for 2020s. No, partly because of Rusty Davies, partly because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We've remade what the audience will accept and what they won't accept, which is kind of incredible. Now we live in an age where you practically need a spreadsheet to follow all the interlaced plot and characters of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Most people have given up. I think that's why Spider-Man: No Way Home did so well. It was pretty much standalone, right? When even the most casual cinema goes, I see a former Spider-Man crawling out the woodwork. DC has positive a colony of Batmen in its belfry. Yeah, again, I think the meek have inherited the earth. Oh man, they got a picture of the news story. Was it on Radio Times about when Sarah Green was in Attack of the Cybermen? I mean, this thing over here. I'm telling you. Most people don't know the exact moment their puberty hit. Perry, strapped into her pink spandex, also met with Faith Brown and Sarah Green as crowns. It was more than a young boy could stand. I did explode with one or two warm splatterings of excitement. Now that's a fair description of it. Another reason was, God, really, I never. It's like Stingray. Then it can happen in the next half hour. I really never know where I'm going to go when I start these things. And let's not forget even the initial Back to Basics pitch document 2 decades ago. Rusty Davis was already thinking of Doctor Who's past because of the being a source of wonderful, rich discovery for an excited 8-year-old viewer. Absolutely right. To be introduced gradually along the way. Yeah. Another reason why some fans are so wary of nostalgia, I suspect, is they still bear the scars of the 1980s. Really? No. I mean, I was in the 1980s. I don't have any scars from it. Again, I have. I told you. I just mentioned an important moment in my psyche, which was very, very pleasant. Not a scar at all, baby. I expect they still bear the scars of the 1980s when, in our collective memory, at least, the program became increasingly continuity obsessed, pandering to the hardcore audience and at the expense of the more casual viewer, until eventually the hardcore. Eventually, the hardcore faithful were all that remained. Well, that's not really, because the hardcore faithful hated it as well. They hated its lack of success. They really, JNT must go. DWB at the time, Doctor Who Bulletin. Yeah, that was really driven by Ian Levine's hatred of John Nathan Turner. Although the show had got tired, he should have moved on. He should have moved on with Davison. Really should have moved on with Davison for a script. I wish I could go back in time and tell him that. This in of itself is quite reductive reading of the situation. Many factors contributed to Doctor viewers decline in the mid to late 80s. Coronation Street being scheduled against that friend, being like hated and being a little bit shoddy, right? I've always thought that if they cast a great black actor instead of Colin Baker, that would have revitalized the show. Again, it should have had a new producer as well by then. Many people shows views decline in the mid to late 80s, and it's honestly a stretch to see a casual name dropping, the occasional old companion becoming high on many people's lists of reasons for tuning out. Yeah, no, that wasn't it at all. I mean, they actually, destroyed canon a little bit, Mordred Undead, if I may be so bold. But the point isn't so much the Doctor was referencing its own past, it's how it was referencing its past. Because, yes, we're expecting viewers of 1985's Attack of the Cybermen to remember details of Tomb of the Cybermen 18 years earlier. No, they explained it all in story. You didn't have to know anything about Tomb of the Cybermen, other than, and at the time, nobody bloody saw Tomb of the Cybermen. It had been missing for decades, so... it was fine. As a Doctor Who fan, watching Attack of the Cybermen, with no knowledge of Tomb of the Cybermen, again, I was just kind of a little bit more fixated on Perry, Sarah Green and Faith Brown, quite frankly. I was like, what's Tomb of the what? Shh. Perry's in spandex. and that was when I was like 11. I didn't get any better. Tomb of the Cybermen broadcast 18 years earlier. Similarly, if you're going to make the Matrix so central to the Arc of Infinity, it might be useful to remind viewers who don't have a target novelization of the Deadly Assassin what the Matrix actually is. I thought they did. I haven't seen Arc of Infinity for years and years, so I can't testify that. But that's deep core nerd stuff. David Tennant and Matt Smith coming back for a quick victory lap, on the other hand, is like everybody can enjoy no matter how casual their relationship to the show. Well, exactly. It's programming for the normie, which I think is a good idea. The polar opposite of fan service serving indulgence. Well, the normie audience likes a bit of fan service indulgence. It's actually the biggest, most populist, most crowd-pleasing big tent move Doctor Who could possibly make. Well, yeah, obviously, Blimey. It's like, okay. Paul Kirkley, you're hanging around with the Twitterati. Don't. They're morons. They're all morons, right? And this is true even in the 80s, by the way, when the Return of the Cybermen after the absence of 7 years was an exciting event for everyone, including the kids who never heard of them. Same with, was it Omega? Now, I knew who Omega was from... What was it, the Five Faces of Doctor Who reruns from a year or so ago? But I knew who he was. And then I remember I was sitting at the kitchen table having dinner. I got super excited. It's when I realised it was Omega before they said it was Omega, and I was excited. Not as excited for a Spandex Perry. Just be clear. Even the return of McGann, whose eighth Doctor only had a fleeting screen time, would be pretty simple to explain to viewers who aren't familiar with him. Well, they did it in Night of the Doctor, right? It wasn't hard at all. It's not just simple, but fun, exciting. A strange man in strange clothes rocking up into anybody who used to be the Doctor. That's drama, that story. Who on earth is going to take flight at that? Okay. I've worked out this. He's answering the people who wrote the screenwriter article, which we're going to read after this. So the point about continuity, surely, this is a well-written article as well. Well-written, well formulated. So the point about continuity, surely, is that a Bannerman, I don't know, as Sonny would have, as Bananarama. Oh, blimey. Dude, it's been a long time since the 80s. Bananarama? That's not really on the top of my tongue, is it? Bananarama. As Bananarama would have it, it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it. Was that their famous song? Really? Okay. If there's a decent story to be told and there's no barriers to entry, well, then what are you afraid of? I agree. Again, Mordred Undead. Great story with no barrier to entry. It doesn't have to be nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, right? That's very true. But equally, there's nothing wrong with the odd bit of nostalgia here for very much the sake of it. It brings a delicious shiver of recognition to the nape of the neck without getting in the way of the action. Then bring it on. I mean, you could say a lot of the Capaldi run was really driven by nostalgia, right? Because it was his personal nostalgia. And it was a great run. I love Capaldi. Though much derided, nostalgia is as valid as an emotional weapon as any other dramatist's armory. Again, you're talking to people who have no nostalgia because this is their first rodeo, right? This is they're 12 years old and the first time. No, they're not even 12-year-old. They're like 22 years old. 12-year-old people normally have the nonce to understand that they're 12 years old. 22-year-olds think they're 50, which is weird. Derived from the Greek word nostos, meaning homecoming, the algos and algos meaning pain, there's an inbuilt dramatic tension in nostalgia, a recognition that memories are as sorrowful as they are sweet. When you've got a story forged over 6 decades to play with, you'll be crazy not to tap into that every now and again. It is so what Big Finish should have done when they entered their main range. They should have gone through their main and did the greatest hits and relived them. Right? They should have made it a celebration of the main range, which there was a lot to celebrate there. Right? There was a lot to celebrate. After all, there's surely a limit to how many times you can read the same format of Doctor arriving somewhere, fixing something, then leaving again. Nope. Nope. You can do that forever. You have to shake up the formula and raise the emotional stakes occasionally by plugging in your own mythology is one of the obvious ways of doing that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And those who still insist that all this halts the glorious march of progress, yeah, that's progressive. There's one of the problems we had with what I said this a number of years ago. The problem with progressives is they need to progress, right? And if there's nowhere to progress to, they'll go somewhere crazy, which is exactly where we are today, right? And all those who still insist that all this halts the glorious progress, I would say, I wouldn't treat your own history like that. You wouldn't treat your own history like that, would you? Keep all your precious memories in a lockbox and never open. What a diminished life that would be. And the same goes for Doctor Who. They don't have precious memories. That's the bloody problem. They're idiot children. They don't have precious memories. So come on, we've all had a horrible few years. Yeah, it's called the Jodie Whittaker era. Let's stop thrashing ourselves with birch trees and pretending we need to live like monks for Doctor's 60th birthday. And let's lead into the biggest, most glorious nostalgia hit Russell T Davies can throw at us. Casual viewers will love it, and the media will love it, and they'll just throw themselves to and relax and go with the flow. The hardcore fans would love it too. It's a party and everyone's invited, after which the 14th Doctor can strike out in a bold new future with a renewed headwind of love and goodwill. This is, 100% having a moan at the crazes on Twitter. If the show doesn't want to look over its shoulder for a year or two at that point, fair enough. But they tried that with Whittaker season 1 with series 11, right? And how did that work out? Everybody hated it, and then they thought they'll turn the ship round for they'll be able to bring everybody in by the second season 12. Everybody hated it more, and they said, "Oh no, we'll do Doctor Who Flux." Everybody hated that more, which is weird because the quality has steadily gone up all the way through, right? But the show doesn't need to look over its shoulder for you, fair enough. Fresh start and all that, but the past will always be there. And honestly, it's nothing to be scared of. It's something to be scared of if you're scared of accepting your own failure, right? If you're scared of accepting your own failure. So why was that article written? To answer this one, right? Because it's not specifically answer this article. Answer these. The Twitterati, these people who live in Twitter, who don't think looking backwards is a good idea. Because when you look backwards, you see how much better it was. That's really the problem. Hey, do you remember the Trump years? Do you remember how much better they were? Don't look there. Don't look there. Don't look up. Right? Christian Mozera has been fixated on mythology, but Matt Smith and David Tennant can't save Doctor Who. Why does it need to be saved? You said it was stunning and brave and the bestest ever. Why does it need to be saved? What's up with it? It was interesting. Christian Rosera has been fixated on mythology. No. His second series has been fixated on mythology, trying to bring people back from his first series. But the potential return of David Tennant and Matt Smith only feeds into this nostalgic obsession. Oh, this is great. These two articles dovetail perfectly into each other. Ruby Cat, it's so funny. This is a real fan of Doctor Who, versus a fan of progressivism, who isn't a real fan of Doctor Who in my mind. Rumour says that both Matt Smith and David Tennant will be returning Doctor Who for the next year's 6th anniversary, but they can't save the series from its biggest issue. What's his biggest issue? I mean, Jodie Whittaker. Yeah, no, Russell T Davies doing that. The 50th anniversary of Doctor Who was a big deal. A week-long celebration, convention in London, and global simulcast on TV and in cinemas. Because it was very popular then. It's not very popular now, is it? That's why they made such a big deal of it, because it was doing very well. Now, my God. It's doing so badly, they're totally hiding it. You know where they're hiding it? In the centre of the BBC centenary celebrations. That's right, a place where no one's going to look. Right there. Rumour says that Matt Smith, David, blah, 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 blah. Alongside the anniversary of Day of the Doctor, there were new documentaries, a comedy special featuring past Doctors, actors Peter Davis, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and 2 new Doctors in the form of John Hurt and Peter Capaldi. No, sir, all 13. I love that bit. Okay. The cherry on top of the anniversary cake was the return of Tom Baker's animatic future Doctor, future version of Doctor, who apparently changes his face now. He can be any version of the Doctor that he particularly wants to be. Was appropriately enough a celebration of the past, present, and future of Doctor Who. right? The 50th anniversary was also the culmination of almost 10 years of storytelling, showing the truth of what happened on Gallifrey's supposed final day. Well, that's true, but again, it was popular storytelling, right? The current era has been crushingly unpopular. In Showing the Truth of what happened to Gallifrey, Stephen Moffat closed the book on the Time Lord mythology, first introduced in 2005, a decade after Doctor Who's return, and television was announced. Return to television was announced in the 40th anniversary. What? A decade after Doctor Who's return to television was announced in its 40th anniversary. Yeah. Fine. Okay, I understand what it's trying to say. The series reinventing itself again, looking forward to the future. In 2014, Moffat, Capaldi, and both fans and the series, of both fans of the series since childhood, embarked on 3 seasons that broke down and rebuilt the character of the Doctor. By the time Capaldi handed the TARDIS keys over to the female Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, there was a fertile ground for something brand new. Yeah, there was fertile ground for something brand new. How'd that work out? Is it popular? No, it's not. Doctor Who Season 11 took origins in territory previously unexplored and was a crushing failure, right? Everybody tuned in to see Jodie Whittaker, and then then over the next few weeks they realised how awful it was, and viewership fell off a cliff, right? But it did much more so the year afterwards, right? And it did even more so the 2 years after, the season afterwards, I should say. Took on to unexplored territory by 21st century incarnation. But the Christian era has developed a detrimental fixation on mythology. Well, yes and no, not really. I mean, its fixation on mythology has been destroying it rather than working within it, right? Less than 7 years after the 50th anniversary triumphantly restored the Time Lord homeworld, it was once again in cinders at the end of season 12's opener, Spyfall. Stupid, just stupid. If that wasn't bad enough, the introduction of Joe Martin as the previously unknown incarnation of the Doctor further emphasized the feeling that Doctor Who had become the greatest hits compilation. No, they were trying to do Stunning and Brave different there, right? That wasn't nostalgia. That was nostalgia brought in to destroy the past. The return of Matt Smith and David Tennant would only feed to the nostalgic obsession. Yeah, also, Doctor Who fans tend to like Doctor Who, right? And they look back and go, oh, that was nice, right? Yeah. If you come from a generation of people who actually like Doctor Who, yeah, you will want a bit of nostalgia, right? The 10th Doctor is as definitive for Generation Z as the 4th Doctor is for Generation X. Were we Gen X in the 70s? I guess so. Okay. David Tennant's return as a Doctor would undoubtedly boost public interest in the run-up to the 6th anniversary. And why do we need to do that, right? Why do we need to remind people how great Doctor Who is? It's because Jodie Whittaker failed, and that's really your problem, right? You can't even talk about it. You're dancing, and now don't like that. No, it's all because Jodie Whittaker has been a crushing, total failure. That's why, right? And that's it. That's the entirety of it, right? Anything else, you're lying. However, Tennant fronting the anniversary special, well, the Jodie Whittaker. Oh, Jodie Whittaker's gone, baby. Okay, I mean, you understand this. That I might be wrong, but I believe when she leaves, she's gone. This era is forgotten forever, right? It's going to be over because everything that was a part of this era has failed. Specifically, the agenda behind it, right? The agenda behind it has brought us to, basically destroyed the Western world, brought the most serious war to Europe that we've seen since World War II. Right, and this is all a reflection of that cultural war, that cultural a divide we have going through the entirety of society. Which again, I think the people in charge are on the same side of the Doctor Who people, are on the same side as Screen Rant, but there's a lot less of them, I think. Right, so it's completely failed. Right. Everything. When you get back really down to the whole nitty gritty, the culture war, their side has failed. The side in power has failed. And why? Because they're in power, and nobody's buying their crap. And that was it. Would undoubtedly boost public interest in run-up to 6th anniversary. However, David Tennant fronting the anniversary special, rather than Jodie Whittaker, a new Doctor, could inadvertently vindicate the more vocal and toxic. There we go. The more vocal and toxic media commentators who feel the past 4 years have been a disaster that's best forgotten. The last 4 years have been a disaster that is best forgotten. I mean, I don't understand. How do you view it? And you liking it doesn't make it not a disaster that's best forgotten, right? This is bizarre here. So let's just look at the figures, right? Let's just look at the figures. There we go. Make this smaller so we can see it. Right. So this is what they're saying isn't a disaster that shouldn't be best forgotten. Look at it. I mean, what part of that isn't a massive failure to you, right? It's the lowest ratings it's ever received. Why? Not because people assimilate TV differently, because it's garbage, right? That's why. Well, good for them. They finally got to, admit it. Okay. Would vindicate the more vocal and toxic social media commentator. You are the toxic social media commentator, right? Who's had your ass handed to you. That's what's going on. You are a toxic social media commentator, as was your entire ilk, and you've had your ass handed to you. And it's kind of funny. The potential of Matt Smith to return as the 11th Doctor should go some way to upset this problematic optic. Dude. The most problematic optic is Jodie bloody Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, I guess. And Matt Stevens, who's front and centre and everything now. Blimey. But doesn't fix the fundamental issue. For a show that can go anywhere, Doctor Who is disappointingly obsessed with its revisiting its past. No, we're not obsessed with ignoring its past, or as Chris Chibnall was obsessing about the past to destroy it. Why? The bold mythology shifting reveal that Series 12 finale was inspired by the 44-year-old serial The Brain of Morbius. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay? It wasn't. That's called a lie. Okay? A lie. Here's the thing. These people, the Twitter, they just can't. Everything's a lie if it's from somebody they don't like. And they can't tell a lie if it's from somebody they're aligned. They don't like people. They just align with people, right? Everything's like yeah. He was lying. Oh, really? How'd you know? His lips are moving. It's not hard to work out. Anniversaries should pay tribute to the past while committing to the future. I mean, again, and that's really what they've done. I mean, I think Dare the Doctor did that. I think I Like the End did that, which I liked a lot. 5 Doctors did that. 3 Doctors did that. Again, look at 5 Doctors. Nostalgia, right? And at the end, the Doctor goes on the run again. Things like, what, you're going to go run from your old people with a rackety old TARDIS? And they was like, why not? That's how it all started, right? And it was both pushing forward and looking back simultaneously. But again, they weren't looking back, and the things they were looking back at weren't so much better than them. And you boiled it all down with that one line. It could inadvertently vindicate the more vocal and toxic social media commentators who feel the last 4 years have been a disaster that's best forgotten. Again, why do you think that's an invalid, like a crazy invalid point of view? Every metric points to that. Like it literally. There's no metric that you can honestly point to and go, oh, look how much better it is without weirdly manipulating it. A multi-Doctor story is a multi-Doctor is an obvious way to do it, teaming up the Doctor, past Doctors to secure the future of the universe. Yeah, I hear. And, when they do go off that, it doesn't really work. I mean, if you ever listen to Zagreus, they try to do something different with that anniversary story. The Big Finish 50th one or 100th release, I can't remember. And so they had, people who, Seth McCoy, Colin Baker, playing different characters. And it didn't really work, right? It never really came together. However, there have been so many multiple Doctor stories, comics, audio plays, and television episodes recently, and relying on past incarnations to entice. Well, yes, you know why they had to rely on past incarnations to entice viewers back? Because the current one is repellent. That's why. Duh. Again, it's not hard to work out. Feels retrograde. Rather than stick to this tired format, the best celebration for Doctor Who's 60th anniversary could be to relaunch the series with a brand new Doctor and a bold new vision for the show from Rusty Davis. Yes, an interesting way you're sidestepping relaunch the show that you destroyed, or that Chibnall destroyed with his utter stupidity, right? With his utter unrelenting stupidity. Utter unrelenting stupidity. Quite a big thing amongst the fans. Chris Chibnall, right? Utter unrelenting stupidity. Quite a big thing, right? But yeah, a tale of two articles. This, and one is clearly coming to answer the other, and the other is essentially saying, "No, so great." And that's just really the strength of the argument they have. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.